Okay, we're making applesauce with Emie Neilson, about to turn 89 years old, and she has all the secrets. Go, Mom.
You first of all, you wash the apple. Put them all in your sink, wash them. Get your breadboard out and your knife. Or if you want to use
An apple
dispenser. I don't know where'd that go.
Over here on the table, Mom. Right over here.
If you don't have one of these, this goes right over the center of your apple. And you push down. I'm not strong enough. And that takes out your core.
Or you can do it old
Or
school.
you can use just a butcher knife. That's the old school one. For me, this is easier if you got the muscle to push this down. But I fell and hurt my hand, so I haven't any strength in them. But if you're muscly, get your guy to help you.
Okay, so we're doing about 2 bags of apples. We got an assembly line going. And they're just tossing the good parts into a pot. And then Mom will explain from there.
So if you get, once you've cut these into little pieces, if there's any little core left, you need to remove it. And then cut them in half. Put them in your pot. And then they will cook a lot faster.
Okay, so the apples were cut into 16ths. And now what are you doing, Mom?
I'm adding, I fill this to 8 cups. So I add it gradually until I get about a third of the water to cover the apples. I try that much. And then when you start that, you have to see.
So how high is your heat?
Well, I started it high. When the water boils, you turn it right down.
Okay.
Okay, you cover your pan to get it going. Then you give it a stir and you let it cook until the apples are mushy. Okay, after the water's come to a full boil, then you turn down the heat and just let them cook.
Okay.
Not quite done here. So I just put it back in the pot and cook it maybe another 10 minutes. They're a lot easier to put through the food mill if they're well cooked. See that? That's not cooked enough.
Okay.
So you can tell by looking.
Gotta be falling apart.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the applesauce is, the apples are breaking down, so we've turned it completely off, and we're just gonna let it cool down a bit, as I am told that it is like working with molten lava. So you just gotta let it cool off a bit.
Okay, the apples are all done now, so you get a scoop and you dip it out and put it in here and don't fill it too full or squeeze out, but 4 cups. And then you just turn your handle and...
Okay, let's do it live. So this is a food mill, in case you haven't come across one of these gadgets.
Okay, that's 4 cupfuls, and that's about full enough. And then you just turn your handle, and you have a helper because your arm will almost fall off after a while.
especially the size of the batch we're doing. About 3 bags of apples.
So as you continue to mill it, when you get near to the bottom, you just go opposite just to lift up any skins you may have that's obstructing your sieve.
And that's good. So that was about a couple batches. Good.
You empty your sieve out of, put your skins in the garbage on a paper until you're all done.
That's going to be hot. Okay, and keep going. Oops. And there we go. Are they empty? Okay, the skins are emptied. And we're back in business. Fill it again, do it again. So the girls are just finishing the last of the food milling, and we've returned the several batches of applesauce back to the pan, and we are going to heat it up a little bit more and add our sugar, cinnamon, and vanilla.
All the sugar you use depends on the kind of apples. If they're sour, it's going to take more sugar. So you start by putting in 1 cup of brown sugar.
And that's about 3 bags of apples.
And then you stir that in, let that melt. And then you put in a cupful of vanilla. And depending on how much cinnamon you like, but I usually put in about 2 or 3 vanilla.
2 and 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. Yep. Okay.
Okay, now we've added the vanilla, the sugar, and the cinnamon. So have your taste test.
And don't double dip.
And I think it's a little bit sour, but I'm going to let the other girls try. You gotta do this.
With you, I like cinnamon, not too much.
So we determined that it needed a little more cinnamon. So we're adding the cinnamon instead of the sugar because we do kind of like a little bit of tartness, but okay, a little more sugar too.
Containers here ready to fill, and depending on how many people you're feeding, that's the size containers you get, or whatever you got. So we just dip it into our applesauce and fill our containers. So that takes a full one of these, so it's easy to measure.
And then what are you going to do with it? Put it in the freezer.
Then you let it cool till it's cold. And then you write on the top applesauce and the date and your name. So they don't forget who you are.
Who it belongs to?
Who made it? With love, you add.
Okay, the end. Applesauce made.